All right, guys. Hello, everyone who's in the chat right now, watching live. We have already 20 people watching us. We normally go up to 200, 180 people. So, hello from Japan. We have a special guest today, Robert Tozzi. He's in New York. I'm going to introduce him in just a minute. Just want to start off shouting out to a couple friends. Dimitri in Russia, of course. A lot of work he has put into restoring the old Gleason's map, which Robert made an even better job. We're going to be discussing that today. So, hello everyone. Flat Earth Coffee Table Shop, a talk. He will be here. Bobby will be here in a couple of weeks again. Now we're gonna have Chris Sparks again from Helios Sorcery. He's gonna be here giving us a Flat Earth biblical presentation. And let me just check here real quick. Comments. So we're going to be talking about most of the time. Roberts is going to have about 50 minutes or so, 1 hour to present his stuff. But I also want to touch about the recent emergency landing in India. A lot of things going on with that emergency landing. We're going to be discussing that. Also, I want to talk a little bit about Danny Faulkner. I watched his Flatzoid this week, talking about one of his presentations. So, greetings, familia. Greetings, everyone. Hello, Susie, Victor Lima. Boa noite from Portugal. Hello, New Zealand, Australia, everywhere. Okay. So, let's go ahead and talk to Robert. Robert, it's a pleasure for me to have you here. And I want you to talk a little bit about you first. Tell us about your journey to Flat Earth, and then you will have the whole time to present your enhancement of the Gleason's map.
Well, nice to meet you, and thanks for having me on. It's a real pleasure to be here. Um, well, I started out, I guess, like anyone else. I put off looking at any kind of conspiracies for a long time, and then I kind of decided that what did I have to be afraid of? Let me just look into it because there's a little bit of a fear to looking into this stuff at first. You don't want to be that conspiracy theorist. So finally, I said, let me just take a look. And I think the first thing that I saw was one of Dave Weiss's videos. I don't remember exactly, but it was exposing NASA. And right away, it I have a little bit of an engineering background from college. So, when I saw this video about NASA and space and all the things that they were doing, a lot of bells went off. So right away I knew, wow, uh, this world is a lot different than I thought. So flat Earth, I think probably the first time I heard Dave Weiss talk about water staying level and an extended plane with the Antarctica being the shores of our ocean, and it just that made a lot of sense. But I didn't take it for granted right there. I did a lot of research over the years and a lot of math, and you know, put my physics um, formulas back into action that I hadn't thought about in years, and I couldn't deny it. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's it's pretty an amazing journey to realize that a lot of things are different than you thought.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have a student, we live in Japan, and one of our students, he's a very bright student, like in Japan, they select when you are in junior high. You have like those specific high schools for the brightest, okay? And he's one of the brightest. He went to a math-based high school. It's only, physics and math. He's a very smart boy. And we talk a lot about flat Earth. He realized Earth is flat, a couple of years ago. And we talk a lot, like yesterday's class was the whole time talking about flat Earth, you know, and how things are different, and he was watching Mike Sargent's Clues. I think it was number 3 or number 4 that talks about the structure how they hide from us, all that stuff. And then just because he does a lot of simulation with computers, he can understand how easy it is to hide from us. Since everything we get animation from TV, newspapers, books. It's all based on animation. We don't have a way to go and check those things. So it's easy for us to be fooled, right? Especially by NASA.
Hmm. Now everything is digital and computer based, so most of your information is coming from a screen. How easy
Exactly.
will it be going forward to fool people if
Yeah,
they're not looking? It
yeah,
seems like NASA and a lot of the other tricksters out there have to show us that revelation of method. So maybe the window will be open for us to be able to catch on if we're willing to see it. Maybe that'll always be the case. I wonder though.
yeah. It could be that. All right, so I'm excited about. I'm gonna go ahead and add your screen. I'm excited about your enhancements of the Gleason's map. So that's all yours. You can go ahead and take over from here.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start with my other app here. Let me see. I think I need to get that out of here. Yep. So just grab this other one. So I have to say, Dimitri was a huge help. He provided me with his original file, his original scan, and what I did was it started off very simple. I wanted to clear up the oceans, and so I erased some of the original. You can see this is what it started out with, and my biggest problem after I cleared away the oceans was a lot of labels weren't too clear, and I didn't know if a lot of these islands or periods what they were. And I wanted to make them a little clearer, and this kind of developed over time. So this is what Dimitri started with. He just took a picture or a scan, and he scanned it in. So that was a lot of work for him. I didn't realize it took him 3 months to put this together. Um, and with all of the points of interest that he added that I'll show you after. But for now, you can see if I zoom into the United States, I'm actually in Florida. Not in New York anymore.
Okay.
I evacuated. um, so you can see what I did from his was that was the original. If I go to his, you could see he had some different icons, and I kind of wanted to standardize them and make sure that they weren't going over names. Um, you can see there's a lot of lines in here which represent rivers and some lakes. Here's the Great Lakes over here.
Right.
So as time went on, I picked one piece at a time, and I um, took care of the selecting the rivers and then the lakes. And you could see I kind of went across the plain and did the same for South America. And let me go back to his. You can see when he scanned it in, even with all the work that he did, there's a good amount of confusion what the borders are. You see these. That's actually a dotted line.
Right.
Um, in other cases, we have rivers, but then you also have the longitude and latitude, and you can
Right.
see that I pulled those out separately. And as you do this, it's all a single layer, so it's time consuming because once I take away one line, now you have an empty space behind it, and it's hard to make it look nice unless you kind of rebuild a lot of it. So you can see these patterns had to be rebuilt in the borders. And the the real benefit though was being able to take a lot of the labels and standardize them. So you could see that these the labels for cities and um, islands are pretty much standardized. They're pretty easy to distinguish. Then you have the Strait of Magellan, so that's a water body label. That's got a little different font. We got your um, degrees of latitude, the Antarctic Treaty. I just kind of picked a little different style of labeling these things. And you can see as we go along, some of this stuff was pretty challenging because it took a bit of research to find out what some of the labels were, because even with the original, some of these labels are hard to distinguish.
It is.
Wara, Borgu, and the names change. So there's a bit of research. So it was a fun project. I don't know if I could talk for much longer on it.
Oh yeah, you can. You have like 50 minutes.
All right.
Like that.
So I probably should ask you if you have some questions about it, and that'll probably help me
Okay.
be a little more
Well,
interested.
I really, really like it, the map. I mean, I have already started using, including the emergency landing that I'll be talking today. I'll be using it, and I like the way you did highlighted the rivers and the lakes. I
Mm,
mean, it's just because I've been working with this map for many years, and I had the same problems as you. You have notes like some of the names, and sometimes I had to go to the globe to find
mhm,
the cities or to find the places to make sure. And Dimitri, he did a great job adding like Moscow there or Russia,
mhm,
some cities in Russia. And also, he asked me if I wanted to add something else, and I asked him to add Point Nemo, and he did the Bermuda Triangle.
mhm.
But you just made the map so beautiful. I mean, it's just beautiful. I can't wait to have a print size like this size here, and perhaps because this one I bought from Amazon like a couple of years ago.
Mm,
I've had this map hanging here for like probably 6 or 7 years, and they sent me from the U.S. I can't find it here in Japan.
mm,
So I don't know if I can have it printed here. I'm gonna see if I think I can. There is a guy who he prints banners, and I'm gonna see if I can replace this one with your rendition, your enhancements, because it's just so beautiful. All the details like you have right there at the Caribbean. You have Cuba, Haiti, and Puerto Rico right there. I mean, it's just a beautiful map now. It
thanks.
can illustrate any book now.
Mm. Yeah, well, I actually, when I worked, I'm a retired fireman, but I did some time, a good amount of time working in uh, an administrative job because I have an IT background. For as long as I'm on the fire department, I was doing IT. So they kind of sucked me into this network GIS job. Well, mostly GIS, but I did some networking there too. And so we would do the fire department maps for the city, and uh, you know, we would get data sources from mostly local. So I learned a lot of the mapping. So this is kind of, when I saw this, I saw a lot of potential for making it a great production.
It is just a beautiful, beautiful map. A lot of people are commenting things like it really looks beautiful, and I can't wait. And I wish, unfortunately, these kind of maps, and I've been highlighted in the back in the past. Uh, they are trying to avoid displaying the AE map. I
Hmm.
have notes like before 2015, we could still see it. Now, even the famous world clocks, now they replace for the Mercator.
Hmm.
You don't find those anymore unless flat earthers like us. I know I are propping up the maps, but other than that, they try to hide that map a lot. you know,
They pulled it out of all of the libraries pretty much, from what everyone's saying. So
yeah, yeah.
that's too bad. But I'd like to actually make a 24-hour clock with this as a background. I want to see if I could figure out how to do that or find somebody to do it for me.
Okay. One thing that I've been looking for, I do a lot of animation. I try to make animations with flight paths, and I contacted a guy. There are sites, maybe someone in the chat or who is going to watch this later. Um, there are websites where you can do it automatically. You know, just log in. They have the Mercator map or the globe, and
Hmm.
you just pinpoint the cities, and they animate. You choose whether by boat or by air. They have a small airplane. They animate online. You know, it's free. Some of them are paid subscriptions, and I contacted a guy. I asked him, please add the A map or the Gleason's map so we can plot these flights, you know, with the A map. And he told me he was going to do it, but he never did actually, you know. I contacted the guy on Instagram. He owns one of those websites. So they try to avoid, you know, the A map, you know, it's terrible.
Nobody wants to be known as a flat earther, but I think it's going to change soon enough.
I hope so too, you know, like that's why we are trying our best, you know, like doing this. I promote the A map and the Gleason's map a lot because at least it's something. I'm not saying okay, this is the, but it's one of the best. And as I've been working with flight routes for a long time, um, can you zoom in back again on the Caribbean? You had right there. So I normally tell my subscribers when you fly from Rio to Los Angeles, if you fly a direct flight, you fly over Puerto Rico, you know?
Hmm.
And on the globe, you would fly over like uh, Bogota and part of Pacific Ocean. And that's not the way we do. We do exactly like that image right there. You fly over Puerto Rico. And the last time I flew, the captain was really nice. And he even saw we were returning. It was a returning flight to Brazil, and he was saying, "Look to your right. You see all the islands. You see Cuba, Haiti, the Republican Dominican Republic." So we were clearly flying over Puerto Rico. Okay, so that matches, man. That matches the Gleason's map exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I always found
Okay,
it interesting that the flights to Asia go over they go over Alaska, close to the Arctic Circle, and I
right,
when I saw that, it surprised me because at the time I didn't know the shape of the Earth. I still thought we were on a globe. So I think when you look at this, it makes you start thinking and like spatialize where you really are, and try to put that in perspective. Maybe it'll be a little more difficult to hide the truth from people if it's a little clearer, a
right.
little easier on the eyes, and they'll take in the information.
Okay. So because I live in Asia and I talk to many like Filipinos and Indonesian people and Korea and whatever. And the Filipinos and the Indonesians, they always say, well, you know, we never cross the Pacific when flying to the US because in the globe, you know, no man, let me go to the globe here real quick. Let me show you what I mean. Let's see. Uh, let me Philippines to LA. Okay, let me go to Google Maps. I'll show you in just a second. I'll share my screen. And this is, I always point this out. Okay, I have the globe here. So I'm going to add my screen real quick. So add the screen. Okay. So this is what I mean here. Okay. We have the globe, right? And no matter where here, you never cross this area. You never like land in Hawaii to LA. And people from the Philippines tell me that, you know, that's why I have a lot of flights from like, where is the flight Sydney to Mexico City? Where's the flight from Auckland to let's say Ecuador right here or Colombia. There's no way. There's no way. It's always like in your map right there. Let me add back. It's always over Alaska or that part right there. It's always like that because it's impossible. You see where Hawaii is? It's impossible for them to stop in Hawaii for a layover. It's impossible because that's not the layout of the plane. The Earth is not a globe.
Yeah, yeah. You did a ton of work on showing all these different false flights, which is pretty cool. I actually
Yeah.
bought a couple of copies of your book.
Thank you, sir. So you see, like a couple of years ago, I had argument with. I'm always having arguments with pilots, and I couldn't find a real flight unless it's an animation, a flight from Australia that really goes south of Hawaii. They all come from the north.
Mm.
And then I found out Qantas has a hub in Alaska in Anchorage. So you know what's going on. So lies get exposed. Once you research that stuff, you find out a lot of things. Why does Qantas have a hub in Anchorage, Alaska? What's going on here? Why do they fly? They
That's pretty
supposedly fly
strange
to.
on the south.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
That is pretty strange if they're supposed to be in the southern hemisphere.
Exactly. And why do they fly supposedly from Sydney to Dallas, but they don't fly Sydney to Mexico City, which is hundreds and hundreds of miles before Dallas, if you look at the globe, you know? But when you look at the flat Earth map, you can understand they fly Sydney to Dallas, but they cannot fly all the way to Mexico City. It's much farther,
Mm.
you know? And I actually researched that matter. And Qantas was planning to fly. I don't know if they're still planning, but they were planning to fly a direct flight from Sydney to Mexico City in 2024. And they were waiting for improvements in aircraft performance and uh, autonomy. So they were probably waiting for another aircraft that has a longer autonomy, can fly much
It doesn't
longer
look
distance.
like. Sorry, I'm
No, go
looking at.
ahead,
It
finish.
doesn't look like it's much further though.
To go from Sydney to Mexico, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
Dallas is
yes.
there. It's really just a. That's kind of
Not
interesting.
much. Yeah, not much for you're right. It's not much for but I don't know. It's still they don't fly. They don't fly to Mexico City, and they
Huh.
were planning to fly in 2024.
That's interesting.
It is. It is. And but supposedly on the globe they fly over a Mexican airspace to go to Houston and Dallas.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, supposedly United has a flight. I think it's Fort Worth to Sydney, and Qantas has the one to Houston, guess something like that. But in reality, they all fly north of Hawaii, which matches the flat Earth map. Okay, Robert, I want you to go ahead and show us the Hyperborea map, the what you're working on.
This was very interesting. When I was looking at this, I started looking at the population of these different northern islands. There's a ton of them over here. Now, this is in Gleason's original map, and you can see it's this kind of group of islands west of Greenland are all smudged out. So
Right.
I was curious about that, and I pulled up a current map, and let's see, this is it here. So I just overlaid that uh, 75 degree plus islands. Now these over here, none of this was really in Gleason's at all, just except for the edge of this here, and I guess what you call Devon Island below it. So, but what's known as Devon Island now. So I looked at the populations, and any of these solid color islands here have no population, zero. It's
Okay.
unbelievable. Here you have some little bit of population, I mean, 1,000 or something, 1,100, a couple of hundred. You know, it's really low. Greenland, I forget what the population was on that. Spitsbergen was a little bit of a surprise. I think they were in the 1,200 to 1,800 people, somewhere in that range. But they're quite a bit further north. I think they're beyond 80 degrees. So that, and there was something saying that they had a special weather pattern because of where they were
Really?
located, which that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
It,
But
it doesn't. It doesn't.
so anyway, I was looking at some of these different maps, Mercator maps, and I was put up this presentation real quick, the slideshow. Okay, so how to fit Gleason's map together with Mount Meru and Hyperborea from the Mercator map. So here we go. This is the current map, and again, I'm just showing the current islands that they say are up there according to the existing maps today, above 75 degrees, between Greenland and above Canada, Canada proper. So here's your 1606 Mercator. It's all in Latin. So did a little bit of translating to figure out what I was looking at. So here's not as clear, but it gives you a little more perspective on what those islands are and their positioning. And you could see here I rotated it so that at 5 o'clock here, that would be Greenland.
Right.
And over here, I don't know if it's going to let me zoom in. Yeah, it is. Okay. This one that says Grow Clant is Devon Island.
Okay.
And over here we have Spitsbergen, Nova Zembla, Bargu up top. That's a cape in Russia, Siberia. So I went into a little more detail on exactly what matches. So I have 6 points common between the two maps. So Greenland seems to be distorted, larger currently, and possibly rotated. So we have Newlet. I don't know how to pronounce that, but
Yeah.
this one here, Neelant.
Okay.
That looks like Spitsbergen. It's pretty much in the same place. That translates to they cry. Grow Clant translates to they growl. So.
Well, interesting.
Yeah. So here, okay, so that's same. Now we fit them together. Nova Zembla translates to New Earth. So, and then we have this Cape. I won't even try to say that. So that's the tip of Bargu in Mercator's map.
Okay.
So we have Greenland here, and this island or two is like a phantom island. We don't know what that exactly was. One says it was a fraud when they were trying to get a patent for something way back when. They said they omitted it from later maps. I think it was from 1700 or somewhere around there. They realized it was a fake. It shouldn't have been on the map. So anyway, Grow Clant or Devon Island is a pretty close match. Now, when you take a map from one
projection
producer, back then I can't imagine that they had the kind of accuracy on projections as we have now. But so it was all almost artistic, I guess. So if things aren't lining up perfect, it probably shouldn't be a big surprise. But anyway, what if this top part of Greenland, which is pretty much unoccupied, um, very, very low population, if any, beyond this Davy Sound, from what I could see, it's pretty much unoccupied. So is this the actual shape of Greenland, or is this landmass here on the right referring to where it connects to Greenland originally, and it wasn't drawn the same way? Who knows at this point, but it's just really interesting that we have six pretty good points of commonality.
So that's 75 degrees, right, to the center. It's pretty much like unknown to us. We don't really know what's going on there.
Exactly. So we have the the outer circle here, right about the bottom of Devon Island, the 75 degrees. Now, let me go back here. So now, if you look at this map, maybe the other one's a little bit clearer. No, the other one here. Yeah, this one is better. So you can see this circle mark is at 80.
Right, 80.
At least that's what they called it back then. Uh, yep. So that would be right around here.
I
Now,
see.
whoops. So as far as the positioning, the this area on the top in the north by Cape Chelyuskin seems like it's pretty close. Devon Island is pretty close. Spitsbergen, Nova Zembla, Greenland is a little bit of a question. And to get the North Pole in the exact center, that's, this is based on a scanned map, so there's going to be a little bit of a distortion. Even though it's pretty accurate, but to get that perfect point in the middle. But I think this is something that maybe we can get more information on and get additional points. Or I think up here where at New Siberia, there was something that translated to North Earth, something uh, something Zemla, but it basically translated to North Earth. I don't remember the exact name. It was on one of the maps that I saw. So yeah, that's what I have so far.
Well, you have a lot of good points there. I was wondering, like Devon Island, it's a Canadian. It belongs to Canada, right? Or is it independent?
Yeah, it's Canadian. Any of
Okay.
these red islands here, and even these white ones that I didn't colorize, that was only because they weren't on uh, Gleason's map. But all of these here, how did I label them? They're currently called Ellesmere Island, and I think
Okay.
Ellesmere is this big one here. And then each one of these does have a name, but nobody's on them.
I see. Well, supposedly, we can't tell for sure if it's true or not, but supposedly Canada has a military base at 82 degrees north, and I
Mm-hmm.
think the Russians also have one at about 81 or 82 on their side. Supposedly, we don't know. That's what we hear.
Yeah, on the maps they have a post at the top of Greenland here, and actually on Ellesmere Island, at the very top of actually on this little area here. If you could see where I'm pointing,
Yeah, yeah, I can see.
yeah. So this little area here, they have one in Greenland, if I remember correctly. It's either here or here. And then at the very top of Ellesmere, they have one, and that's the northernmost outpost.
Uh, let's see. Well, someone is asking about making this map available for download. Yes, I'm going to paste the link in a few minutes. It's available. And also, if you go to any of my videos, you see the Google Drive, you're going to find there all the maps, including this. The latest one is 3.2.2, correct, Robert?
Uh, 3.2.5 right now.
3.2.5. Let me go ahead and see if I can place the link there. Dimitri, he did a great job like adding all the maps in one folder and also the books in Russian, books in uh, English, and he made one single, Google Drive link, so you can find everything you want there. So I'm going to go ahead and place the link for this map. Just give me 1 second. Let me find the link here.
Dimitri
Uh,
did a great job spell checking and catching a couple of other mistakes on my map. He's been a huge help doing quality control for me. He
be
just found
honest, man. Yeah,
some
there's no way.
yeah, he's good.
He's good. We always make mistakes. Like my book, when I wrote my book, I had to. I don't know. I mean, I even asked an American friend of mine. He lives here. He's been teaching English for 30 years. I told him, go over. And you always find a mistake. I find mistakes in books that I buy from Oxford, you know?
Absolutely. So this is
Yeah.
the thing we haven't really talked about. This was all from Dimitri. We have ancient buildings, mesa mountains, and famous mountain peaks. So we have yellow, green, and blue hexagons. So you'll see
Yeah.
them around. So those are pretty cool to maybe go see some of those ancient trees, possibly.
Yes. Let's see. And I want the viewers to pay attention to all the details Robert did with the borders in between the countries, especially like South America, North America, Africa, Middle East. You did a great job there. You
Oh, thank
know, India, also India, the borders with India and the old countries. Me.
you. I just found a problem there.
Yeah, all
Oh,
this border work, man. That was, you know, the Gleason's map. I mean, we have to understand they did that in the 1890s.
a lot
So
of it was hand drawn. It looked like it looked like they went over it with a crayon and put it
yeah,
or
you're
or
right.
wrote in labels that they forgot about.
Okay, I'm placing a link here, guys, on the chat for you to download Robert's this map that Robert is displaying right now. And of course, Robert is still working with it, and he will we will always be adding to the folder Google Drive the latest of the latest version. So keep checking. There will always be something new there. But there's the link for Robert's map on Google Drive. You can
And if
download.
you want to link to my copy, what I've been doing is just overwriting the the older version with the newer. I don't know if that'll make it easier for you, but that's a choice if you want.
Okay. You can also, if you can drop a link there, and then if you people want to do, you can drop a link on the chat.
Sure.
Right. So Robert did an amazing job. I can't wait to have this printed. This is 24 by 36, and I want to have a new one because this one is, pretty old. Uh, I don't think Amazon delivers. Well, they probably do, but the problem is shipping. That's why I stopped buying books from the US. Shipping used to be, before the pandemic. I could buy books from the US and they have delivered here for, a couple of dollars, $6, $7. Now it's like $30, $40. I buy a
Wow.
book that costs $15 and shipping is like $30, so I stopped buying books from the US and now I've been using digital books lately, just go to. But the maps, I like the maps. I have on the other side, I have the Mercator. That's the North Pole map right there. And I got a Japanese version of the map, which they stopped producing. Let me show you real quick. It's right here. So this they start printing this big a couple of years ago, maybe I think was 2018, and now they are not printing them anymore.
Huh.
Uh, maybe JAXA told them to stop. Who knows?
But it's pretty much it's similar to the AE, right? It's an AE projection.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But instead of the Antarctica ring, they just have a white line around.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, it's still a pretty map, but they don't make them, and they only printed for like 3 years this map, and then they stopped.
They
Uh,
were
you know.
didn't like too many people looking at that flat map, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing that we were been talking. They remove the map, they remove all whatever. And last week I was highlighting the fact that a guy in England, he went to a library in Bristol, and they removed all the flat Earth maps from there. I mean the books, flat Earth books.
Huh.
So
They've been
if
doing
it's
a
not
lot of
passed, yeah, it's got to be passed from friend to friend, from family to family, because we will not be able to find in libraries.
the modern day book burning, I think, is going on right now.
Yes, man. All right. So have you been to any like meetups, stuff like that, Robert? Or what's your flat Earth community like there
I
around
haven't
you?
been to one recently because I got a couple of cows that I started off with chickens and then got goats and a couple other animals, and now I have cows. So
That's
I'm
nice.
I'm kind of staying close to the house, the farm. It's not really a full farm, so I have to move the animals around a lot. Keeps me pretty busy.
Okay. So
But
I guess Florida is much better. Are you growing any like tropical fruits as well? It's possible, right, in Florida?
what's that? Tropical fruits? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I have a load of fruit trees. They're starting to finally fruit and produce for me. It took two good years, but now it's they're starting to pop. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Get my
So I
plants
was
in the morning.
I'm originally from São Paulo, which is a big city, but I was raised in a farm in the south of Brazil. My grandfather used to have a farm. He passed away. When he passed away, they divided the land. My mom got some, my aunt got some. So they stopped farming. But when my grandfather was alive, he used to plant coffee beans, like coffee trees and stuff like that,
Hmm.
corn, cotton, and peanuts and soybeans, and he had a whole bunch of cattle as well, horses. And what I liked the most was the fruit. The area where he had different like mango trees, lemon trees, tangerines. Man, that was my favorite because you could just spend the day there. Just eating. As much as you wanted.
Yeah, it takes a they say the right time to plant the fruit tree is 7 years ago because it takes them a while to get established.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
but I started doing a little bit of the electric culture. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, it's very interesting that stuff, man.
Yeah, so it seems like it's 2 years. I'm getting a little more water on my plants. I don't know if that's it, but they're doing good. So I guess I'll just keep throwing stuff against the wall until it sticks.
Right, right. That's
But
very interesting, man.
I did do a test for two plants at the same time. One was planted in the ground next to an electric culture, and the other under a grow light. And could have been the natural light also, but the one under the grow light was a third of the size in the same time. So I actually took it and put it in the plant box with the other plant under the electric culture. So we'll see if it catches up. But it's fun to do those little kind of experiments. And you know, uh, there's a lot of ways to implement it too. You know, you could use a 6 foot antenna or a 2 foot antenna, and I guess depending on how big your antenna goes, you're going to get different results. But I just put a bunch of smaller ones around, and we'll see what happens.
All right. All right. Okay, let me just go over uh, the chat here real bit. A couple of shout outs to you, Robert. A lot of people enjoyed your app. Okay.
Appreciate it.
And yeah, pretty good. And as a community, I'm pretty sure we are all thankful for all the time that you spend doing that stuff. I mean, I know it takes a lot, even for me to make a meme, it takes me sometimes 30 minutes, an hour just for a small meme. Imagine, work like that. So here you go. Thank you, Robert, for this map and your work. Right. And let me see what else here. Okay. So do you still have family in New York, Robert?
Everybody moved out of New York pretty much and is down to New Jersey, just a little bit further, and I have some family here in Florida, and
Okay.
a few sprinkled in between. But yeah, no one's left in New York now.
Yeah, I'm very crazy. Like, like Tokyo here is a big city, and we didn't have the lockdowns in Japan. We never had lockdowns except in Tokyo.
Huh?
And recently, my niece who lived there, she moved out. She's living here close to us. Um, it's just, too many people, and they implemented the lockdown there. It was kind of crazy for them. So, I advise them, move out of Tokyo as soon as you can because whenever it's gonna happen again, of course,
Mm.
it's gonna be crazy over there. But overall, like in the rest of Japan, we didn't have any lockdowns, no lockdowns. We were able to do anything we wanted, go to places, except wearing the face diaper. But this is normal in Japan. I've been here in the '90s, and people wore masks. It's part of the culture because Japanese people are shy. They don't like to show their faces. So it's most like a cultural thing. So if you ever come to Japan and you see, well, why are those people wearing masks? It goes back 30 years. It's
Mm.
it's part of the culture.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've noticed that before, way before the scamdemic.
Exact. So it's so I don't say anything about it. Like I don't. I unless like I had to do my taxes and I had to go to the city or it's a government office there, and I had to put it on. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to do my taxes there. But they were picky for some time about it, but not anymore. You know,
Mm.
yeah, they're okay now.
It's much better in Florida. I know they were crazy with it in New York for the longest time. My son was working in Manhattan, and I was talking to him on the phone when he was on the way home on the bus one day, and some woman got in his face and was yelling at him. Apparently, it was no problem getting in his face to confront them. With you know how scared she was about an invisible invader. It, she could have stayed 10 feet away from him, but no, she had to confront him and get into his face. I mean, it's weird. Like the 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 programming just overrides all common sense.
Exactly, man. It's just like the globe programming, man. Like airplanes flying backwards, going from east to west, but the Earth is spinning from west to
Mhm.
east. So, I mean, it's incredible, man. I mean, the programming, the brainwashing, and these people. I don't know, man. Do you think it's a spiritual thing? Because one of the my subscribers, he told me, Eddie, this is a spiritual thing. If the person doesn't open its spiritual eyes, they were never gonna see. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I was just thinking about the example of toilet bowls and bullets being affected by Coriolis, but a helicopter and a hot air balloon and a butterfly has no effect. Um,
Yeah, exactly,
so, if
exactly.
you tell people that, they just go blank. Like,
Y-
they got a blue screen.
Yeah, I had a pilot here a couple of weeks ago, and I had a lot of things that I was going to talk to, but things didn't go the way we planned. But they say the that's the I don't know if you heard that argument. If like airplane because has an engine, it spins with the rotation of the Earth, with the air. But a bullet doesn't have an engine, so it's not affected. Okay, so I had a couple of things like how about uh, glider? Is a glider flying north affected by Coriolis effect or not? Because glider doesn't have an engine, you know,
Would, wouldn't
a
Coriolis
glider.
wouldn't Coriolis affect everything differently depending on the angle of your flight? So if you're going north, it would be affected one way, south, different way, east would be going what slower, or we're supposedly
Yeah,
turning east. So, and if you go west, it should be faster. But no, it doesn't. Only bullets and toilet bowls.
exactly. And so it doesn't make any sense, man. I mean, the program is so deep, and I was watching you talking about David Wise. He had a show this past week with Austin and Jaron. And I was listening to the Globe guys, and the Globe, one of the Globers, he has like a religious attachment to the globe, it's like, no man, it is a globe, even though he couldn't present any argument, you know he no it is because it is because it is because it is. This is like a religious, attachment, or a form of idolatry, maybe, I don't know.
It's really
Because when Yeah, go ahead.
no, it's really deep. I was just agreeing with you, but I can add a story. I was talking to a woman who says she is very Christian and all that, and I said, I hinted a little bit. She said, I forget how I introduced it, but she said, "This isn't about flat Earth, is it?" Because I went down that road, and I'm not doing it again. I was like, oh, okay. So I said, well, you probably went to this information site like Flat Earth.
WS, right? There is
Yeah,
this information. There is also the Flat Earth Society.
Flat Earth Society. Yeah, you probably got some disinformation. Oh no, no, I know, it's definitely not. You're mistaken. I'm like, okay. So it came up again, and I gave her a couple of proofs. She ignored them, and she sent me a Professor Dave, and
Oh man.
continued to tell me that I was delusional when I said no. What Professor Dave did there, I forget the straw man he used. Is the vacuum suck? A vacuum doesn't suck. It. I can't believe how fast that mantra took off. People literally say that now all the time, and they repeat it at least two times, just like Professor Dave did in his supposed debunking. And I just find that really funny. So you have a vacuum next to pressure. It's really not sucking. The pressure is pushing toward the vacuum. So he's kind of not lying. But anyway,
Yeah, and the algorithm pushes us. Several times I'm watching a Flat Earth video, and right after, man, it starts Professor Dave. All right. So since you talked about a little bit about this lady, I don't subscribe to a denomination. I am a Christian. I was raised Baptist, actually Catholic until I was 16, and then 17 I started attending a Baptist church, and that was until before Flat Earth, because most of the pastors that I've been talking to, they are against. Not all. Some of them, have come along. I went to a Japanese church, and the pastor there, man, she opened the doors. There was a lady, I think it was a Presbyterian church, and she held a meetup there, and she really came up with a lot of Bible verses supporting Flat Earth. It was extremely nice. You know,
hmm,
a few Japanese people here because it's part of the Japanese culture. Like if you look like one this student I was talking to you about, and he was telling me how Japanese culture, like Mount Meru, for them is still like for especially for Shinto, it's a sacred mountain. If you
Mm.
go to some temples here, you still see the old flat Earth map, Japanese with the Mount Meru in the middle. So they know a lot of cities here go by the lunar calendar.
Huh.
It's interesting, man. Very interesting.
They're still connected to the old ways.
It is. It is. The New Year's here is in April. Like then we celebrate New Year. Yes, there is the Western style, but the real Japanese New Year starts in April. So it just started the New Year.
That's
You
great.
know, a lot of biblical. Also, the kanjis. The Japanese characters and Chinese characters. A lot of biblical meaning there. A lot. Like the flat Earth, the rain, and there is a lot of kanjis that related to story of like Noah and the ark. It's a lot of biblical, a lot of things there.
Hmm.
Very interesting. So
Yeah.
I wanna you stay there, Robert. I wanna talk to some of my subscribers about this emergency landing that happened this week. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and I got a lot of messages from subscribers. Hey, Larry, look at this emergency landing. So I made a meme. Okay, I made a meme about it. And of course, this is one option of the route from New Delhi to San Francisco, and that's the city. Now, what I found interesting is that I went over Flight Aware, which has the flight path for this flight. According to Flight Aware, that's actually the same flight. It's in Air India 173. This is according to them, okay? Because they are avoiding Russian airspace, supposedly. They are flying over south of China and south of Japan. This is Japan right here, okay? And crossing the Pacific to San Francisco. But the emergency landing took place right here, Magadan city in Russia. So let's say the airplane was right here, okay? Had a problem. They could have returned to Japan if that was the real route. Okay. But if they were, let's say, right here, they could have gone to Anchorage. Okay. So why Russia? So Globers sent me this stuff here. But the problem is, according to the official narrative, they are avoiding Russian airspace. So they could not be flying this according to the official narrative. But in fact, they are flying over Russia, you know? And I want to play this video here, Robert, and people who are watching, pay attention to this Indian guy, what he has to say about this flight. Let's go ahead and listen to this.
Air India has made a huge mistake by operating flights over Russia amid international sanctions. How do I know? Well, Air India flight AI-173 from Delhi to San Francisco had to make an emergency landing at the small airport of Magadan in Russia. There, the problems became clear pretty quickly. First of all, the small town of about 5,000 didn't have place to keep the 232 passengers and crew for the night. But that was solved by opening a school building for them. They were flown out last night with a replacement flight sent to Magadan from India. The passengers have all arrived at their final destination now. That leaves Air India with a Boeing 777-200 series plane stuck in Russia with an engine that needs replacement.
All right. Okay, so according to them, to this guy from India, this is the flight route, like they were going from India, they were going to go to the US, flying west. And then this is according to this guy, that's what they did. They took off from the New Delhi, towards the west, and then the emergency landing took place right here, which makes no sense at all, of course. And so, what's the true path of this flight? Well, in my opinion, I defend that they are not avoiding Russian airspace at all. And in my opinion, this is the flight route right here. You look at this is your um, enhanced map right here. I used, and I'm gonna use it from now on. And I have here the vortex, the polar winds right here, the jet stream. So they normally fly like that. Okay, to go back from San Francisco to India, they fly this way, but when they are coming, they have to fly this way. So they are not avoiding Russian airspace at all. Neither was another flight, Robert. I don't know if you remember. I highlighted a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, was a flight from Hong Kong to London, and the lady died 4 hours into the flight. The lady had a heart attack. She had a sudden death. And then they kept flying for 8 more hours. And once they left the Russian airspace, they landed in. Let me open this version here, it's best, so I can illustrate. So they were flying from Hong Kong right here to United Kingdom. Okay, so 4 hours into the flight, the lady had sudden death, right? So they kept flying because they were flying over Russia, and they couldn't just admit that. They kept flying until they arrived in Germany. It was just 1 hour before London, and then they landed here in Germany. So the lady could have, was taken out of the flight or whatever, the family. And so they are not, in fact, avoiding. It's just like you said, there's no way for us to know because it's all digital. But I always highlight, Robert, that the only way that we know where those flights are really flying over, it's when emergency landings happen. That's when we know what's going on. So in my opinion, that's the flight route for Air India 173. And once they had the engine problem, they landed in Magadan. I don't know if you heard on the news, they were saying, oh, this flight was diverted to Russia. It wasn't diverted to Russia. It was already flying over Russia, you know?
It just goes to show that it's the wars are theater.
Exactly, man.
The economies are flowing exactly as the so-called elites want them to until it doesn't benefit them anymore. Has nothing to do with any kind of international relationship.
No, exactly, man. It's just to kill people and, make money. And they give us this illusion. It's so sad, man. I mean, I sad. It's pretty sad what's going on. So this is the real route for you guys who were talking about Air India sending me messages. This is what's going on. They fly over a stationary Earth because there's no accounting for any form of curvature when flying. And this is the flight route. That's why they stopped in Magadan, Russia, because they were flying over Russia towards San Francisco. And that's the way they fly. And another thing I want to highlight, Robert, do you have like any religious like affiliation or leaning towards Christian, towards any
Yeah,
other?
I'm Christian. I don't really go to a particular church. I
Okay,
don't
okay,
I
that's
don't
all.
find I think a lot of us feel the same way about organized religions and
Right.
how what their real motivation is. So yeah, it would be nice to find one that with like-minded, a flat earther church or something. That would be kind of cool.
Right. Yeah. So I have one more video to play. This I just came across this video yesterday, and I found it really interesting. And I want everyone now to watch this one here. Let's do it.
The videos that I've been seeing on TikTok that have my mind blown right now. I did not want this to happen this way. I can't believe that I'm about to say this publicly. TikTok has convinced me of this, and I need somebody to talk to about this. This is a private account that none of my friends and family know about. I am an Assemblies of God licensed minister, and I believe that the Earth is flat. I know. All right, good. Skip, go ahead. I'm crazy. I know. Believe me. I just woke up. It puts everything else in perspective. I cannot get past. I live in Louisiana on the North Shore. Literally, we have a 24-mile long bridge. All right. The calculator that you go to NASA, the government, all of their calculators, they say it curves at 0.666. And then we're spending 66,600. Anyways, 24-mile long bridge. Back to my point. There's supposed to be a 384 gap from the North Shore to the South Shore. We have a bridge. You can look this up. It's a straight bridge. I work at the airport as well. Bivocational. I have a master's degree in business administration, and I feel crazy. From LSU. Somebody help me with this. I absolutely believe it now. It took a lot of convincing and watching TikTok, but I am mind blown, and I'm coming on here because I need to talk to some people who also feel the same way, and I'm finally awoken now. I'm awake. Eyes awake. I don't wear contacts. I normally have my hair done. I mean, I do wear contacts. I don't normally wear glasses. Let's talk. Jesus is king, first and foremost, but man, you can't get past 1 Genesis 6 and 7. That firmament, the waters above, beneath, twinkle, twinkle, little star, they're underneath water. I was looking at them this morning, 3:30 in the morning. Lord woke me up, walked outside, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Then my favorite glass mug, shattered. It's like my mind just shattered.
All right, man. Isn't that amazing?
It's awesome.
It's awesome, man. I mean, that's one of the reasons I believe they've been trying to ban TikTok because a lot of people are waking up. A lot of people woke up during the YouTube era when they allow us to, our videos to be promoted. They hid now, but it's still, you find a lot of censorship on TikTok. Still, I mean, it's not like that easy sometimes to find those videos. You have to dig really hard because they put all the misinformation first, all the people making fun. So TikTok, as we were just talking about the wars, uh, also is part of the system. You know, it seems like we have a little bit of freedom there, but it's pretty much controlled. They delete videos. They like I had a video there. I uploaded a video. I had like 60,000 views. Okay. Now the other videos after that, I only got like 15, 20 likes. It's like I'm now they after one of my videos really got like a lot of views. They are hiding, my videos now. So yeah, I think they have a team at Google, at YouTube, specifically to deal with flat Earth. That's my opinion. They have somebody in charge
We must.
to deal. That's my take. I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
I think that they're using some AI, and I think that they actually have people, maybe contracted trolls who have an inside channel to notify notify YouTube of any accounts that need to be looked at and maybe shadow banned. And I tell you what, I go and once in a while I get out of watching a good flat Earth video and I end up on a Professor Dave page. So I said, you know what, maybe it'd be a good idea to leave a couple of nice comments on there since they're sending everybody there. And I found out by going into a private window and not logging into YouTube, checking to see if my comments showed up, if I put in certain words, whatever it was that day or week or month. For example, spinning water ball. They don't like that one. You won't show
Wow.
up in that list of comments. So they're definitely hiding. They're shadow banning. Now I don't know if that's everybody or if they flag, some of us who
Yeah,
are a little bit too loud. I don't know, or if it's channel
yeah,
by channel, because sometimes it seems like it's that too. Like if you go to the Not a Professor Dave page, I think he's pretty well integrated into YouTube. He's got an inside connection or login, most
I
definitely,
believe so. Yeah.
because he gets too
So
many hits and his chat is manicured.
right. Yeah, definitely. I told you, man. Every time I'm watching whatever the Flat Earth video, his video is always comes up next. So annoying. All right, Robert. I really would like to thank you for being here today.
My
Shout out
pleasure.
to Iron Horse in the chat. I want you to go ahead and please say some last words for everybody. If people liked your presence here, maybe someday when you finish working more on your Gleason's map, come back here and show us. Let's go ahead and say something to the people.
Yeah, it was really nice to talk to you guys. I'm kind of not used to doing live streams, so
Yeah,
but
but it's
I
cool, man.
appreciate.
It's nice to interact with like-minded people. It's really
Yeah.
nice. It sometimes gets like crazy, if you don't have anybody to talk to. I'm blessed. I have a couple friends here and students who have woken up. So we do have conversation classes here. Sometimes the topic is flat Earth. You know, it gets really interesting.
Hmm.
So thank you so much, Robert. And guys, Robert's enhanced Gleason's map is available for download here. I have the link in the chat. I also, I believe, Robert, you placed the link as well, did you?
I didn't put it in just yet.
Okay, you
I'm gonna
can do it
put
later on the comments, and then I'll pin to the comments.
I'm gonna put two
So,
in. I'll put in one for the red background border and one for the blue, so they can
right,
download both or whichever they like. I want to tell you one more thing though,
yeah,
if you don't mind.
go
Uh,
ahead.
I'm as a next project, I'm looking at doing the time zones on as an overlay. So if there's an existing AE version of that, I can incorporate that in there. I don't know if you have any idea, but if you do, shoot me a shoot me a
Okay.
link.
I will. One of the guys, he was in the chat, No Donk Records. He's from Germany, and he worked on but it's just based on a conversion, you know.
Mhm.
But what we need is really to go over those regions, especially south of India, not south of India and Iran
Mhm.
and Burma and Nepal, all that region. They have 30 minutes time zones there, and also that region on the line between Alaska and Russia. A lot of things going on there.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
So
give me a
I've
real quick
I've
one.
been asking Robert. I will, patiently, and we will take our time. But it's something that even David Wise, he asked me if I could provide a good places map with the time zones.
Mhm.
And because you had mentioned that on the emails, I told him to wait. I said wait because there's this guy Robert, and he is putting some time into working on something that's gonna reflect some of reality. So take your time, but we are all looking forward. Okay.
If I can get a visual of where the lines are, between what longitudes and latitudes, because they're already there, to put a couple of lines and box it out probably should be pretty easy, I think. So yeah,
Okay. All right. So I'll send what I have. Okay. So, guys, we're gonna be closing. I thank Robert again for being here with us. Robert, I'm gonna go ahead and remove you from the chat. Okay, it was very
okay,
nice having
thanks.
you, and
Likewise.
thank you. God bless you and your family in Florida. Okay,
Same to you.
thanks so much. Okay, hi guys, and I'll be closing now. I'm gonna play a song. As always, I play my favorite song, which is David J. Carroll, and his amazing song called Strato Curious. Thanks again. Look forward being with you guys in the couple weeks. We're gonna have a couple more guests here. We're gonna have Chris Sparks from Australia. He is the director of Helios Sorcery, and he is going to present us a Flat Earth Bible study. So, guys, love you all. God bless you, and let's listen to David J. Caron.
Wonderful, magical, celestial light, fantastical, mystical, wonderful sight. Belgian Swiss physicist Auguste Piccard, 1931, first to reach for the stars, was the first to explore the air view stratospherius, a scientist curious to see what was there. An aluminium black ball on a helium balloon, with photos and instruments, sailed towards the moon, rose in just half an hour, 52,000 feet, 10 miles up, 10 temperature, left for dead, trapped in heat and cold, but disproving gravity. Wonderful, mystical, beautiful sight, flat line separation of black from blue light, a world run by deceivers, false make-believers, hiding in shadows, stealing our light. Mystical, fluorescent light, wonderful, magical, awesome, yes, stealing our light. Wonderful, let there be light, supernatural, eternal, supernatural. Up we go, higher than rainbows, higher than mountains, above cumulonimbus, higher than air, high level horizon, 360 around us, but right round behind us, any height that you dare. The sun and the moon both revolve around us, to forever show time past intelligently there. You'll never beat us, you'll never defeat us, no more you deceive us, we see through you like air. Kipper and Picard were the first ever known to reach up there. Divine, luminescent light, mystical, wonderful, celestial light. So what was their eternal testimony? What did they report back to humanity? Said it seemed like a flat disk far as eyes can see, with an upturned edge fading into infinity. A mystical, ethereal, celestial sight, a divine creation, a clockwork of light, designed hid by deceivers and false make-believers, still cowering in shadows, still fearing our light. Here we go, higher than Everest, higher than airplanes, above zero, cumulus, higher than air, a level horizon, 360 around us, no motion beneath us, no spinning hotels, stars on the firmament, untimable all around us, to forever show time past geometrically there. You'll never beat us, you'll never defeat us, forever beneath us, we see through you like air. Mystics on a luminous light, fantastical, magical, bright, we see through you like air. Magical angels of light, beautiful, wonderful, celestial light. The first to see truth when they reach for the stars, explorers and physicists, Kipper and Picard.